And now, will you listen to what I'm going to tell you? Will you make sure that you hit that like button, comment, and share this podcast? Welcome to The Right Lane with Kelvin Lane. Thank you for tuning in for week 9 of this college football season. Right now, we'd like to get into a recap of last week's games. First game we're going to get into is Florida State lost to Wake Forest by the score of 22-20. Florida State actually iced their own kicker right before a late field goal attempt that would have given Florida State the lead. The Seminoles took a timeout. Aguayo's attempts sailed wide and allowed the Demon Deacons to maintain their lead. Demon Deacon quarterback Sam Hartman threw for 308 yards, while receiver Sam Surratt had 7 receptions for 470 yards. FSU was led in defeat by running back Cam Akers, who led all rushers with 157 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown on 30 carries. Florida State, you're going to have to make some adjustments. I really don't think Willie Taggart is capable of doing a job. This is the worst Florida State team. I say that week in and week out, but it seems like they always find a way to lose. Next game we'd like to move into is the Big Ten Conference showdown between Penn State and the Michigan Wolverines. The Wolverines made one mistake after another, falling into a 21-0 hole midway through the second quarter. Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford threw for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Nittany Lions win, further putting Coach Jim Harbaugh on the hot seat a little deeper. Well, I guess it's always NFL coaching jobs with Coach Harbaugh, because I think this is probably going to be his last year. He's not delivering what the Michigan fans want. They want championships, either championship contention, which is something that Jim Harbaugh hasn't been able to do since he's been in Michigan. Now we're going to move into the SEC with the Georgia Bulldogs versus Kentucky Wildcats. Georgia bounced back with a 21-0 shutout of Kentucky. Georgia was led by running back DeAndre Swift's 179 yards and 2 touchdowns on 21 attempts and a ferocious defensive effort. Bulldogs have a bye this week as they await the next game against the mighty Florida Gators. Let me just tell you, Florida Gators, they're on a mission. With that one loss that they had to LSU, they'll be back stronger than ever. As you can see, they just took care of business last week with South Carolina. That's another topic. But Bulldogs be coming and be ready. Now we'd like to get into the Baylor and Oklahoma State game. Baylor stayed undefeated for the season, defeating Oklahoma State by a score of 45-27. Immediately following Baylor's 45-27 win over Oklahoma State in Stillwater on Saturday, television cameras zoomed in on an exchange between the Bears head coach Matt Rule and the Cowboys freshman quarterback Spencer Sanders. But it was Baylor quarterback Charlie Brewer who led up the field. Brewer finished the day throwing for 312 yards on only 12 of 17 passing and 2 touchdowns, throwing for 1 score while rushing for another, while running back Jermichael Hasty rushed 16 times for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was a good game. But, Baylor does play in a conference where they don't play defense, so we'll see if they can make it into the playoffs. Now we're getting back into the SEC. LSU easily overmatched Mississippi State team by the score of 36-13. Joe Burrow led the Tigers in the win by way of contributing 4 passing TDs on 25 of 32 passing for 327 yards. Made light work of a depleted Mississippi State Bulldog team. When the best coach in the history leaves and comes to the Gators, that tends to be what happens. Programs fall down. Roll Gators. Now we're moving into those mighty Gators. Florida, for the second straight week, hit the road for an SEC game. And for 3 quarters on last Saturday, South Carolina had the Gators on the ropes. However, a 21-point fourth quarter surge helped Florida win 38-27 and stay in the thick of the SEC race. In the soaking rain, Florida quarterback Kyle Trask threw for a career-high 4 touchdown passes as the Gators staved off a noble upset bid by former coach Will Muschamp, and actually put Florida in a tie for first place in the SEC East along with Missouri and Georgia. Keeping things in the Sunshine State, I'd like to go down south to Florida Atlantic University in the Marshall game. The Thunder Herd defeated Florida Atlantic by the score of 36-31. The Owls struggled with defensive penalties early before uncharacteristically allowing the Thunder Herd to get whatever they wanted in the rushing game after the first quarter. After having a strong start, FAU's offense stalled in the second and third quarters, combining for only 126 yards on 31 total plays in the middle 2 quarters, after recording 138 yards on 20 plays in the game's opening quarter. It looked like the Owls were going to gain momentum after putting together a 10-play, 91-yard drive that resulted in a Chris Robinson 1-yard touchdown rush to give the team its first lead in the second half. Yet Marshall responded to FAU score with redshirt sophomore quarterback Isaiah Green finding redshirt junior wide receiver Willie Johnson on a 60-yard touchdown pass less than a minute later to put the Thunder Herd up 30-24 after Marshall was successful on a 2-point conversion. We'll get into the Oregon versus Washington game. Oregon came from behind to defeat number 25 Washington by the score of 35-31 in Seattle. This was a particularly huge moment for the Ducks, who, despite whatever dismissals they may get elsewhere, are still on the periphery of achieving some big things this season. They became a bit of a forgotten team after the opening week loss to Auburn, but have re-emerged after rattling off 6 straight wins. Oregon's on the road, but it looks good when you don't pay nobody with no defense. Now, the last game I'd like to get into is the Clemson University against the Louisville Cardinals. Man, Trevor Lawrence threw 2 interceptions in the first quarter, while a freshman defender was ejected after throwing a punch, and new Clemson starting kicker Steven Sawicki missed his only field goal attempt. There were plenty of things that went wrong for the Tigers against Louisville, but not enough for Louisville to have any chance. They totally smoked Louisville 45-10. Clemson scored 25 points in the fourth quarter. It turned a game that was pretty close into a laugher. Louisville falls to 4-3, 2-2 in the conference with the loss, while the Tigers improved to 7-0 on the season. And now we'd like to get into our right lane player of the week. My right lane player of the week this week is none other than Justin Herbert from Oregon. He had a monster day against Washington. A lot of adversity. He pulled his team through to come back in a very hostile environment. Seattle's hard to play in the NFL and also in college football. I have to give it up for Justin Herbert. Threw for 280 yards off 24 of 38 completions, and also threw for 4 touchdowns. Just totally picked apart the Washington defense and led his team to victory. Hats off to you. Great game, Justin.
God, if you let it in, hell!
And now it's time for our right lane coaches on the hot seat. Yeah, Willie Taggart, he's back in the frying pan again. Willie. Seems like as soon as you get off the hot seat, you get put right back on it. This really isn't acceptable. But it's getting hotter by the day. We also got Michigan Wolverine coach Jim Harbaugh sitting right beside him in the hot seat. One flesh. Two flesh. And now, our third and final coach on the hot seat for this week is the one and only Georgia grad, ex-quarterback Mike Bobo. Not a good sign, Mike. It's going to be very hard for you to get a major coaching job after this display of just pathetic football play at Colorado State University. You know, Colorado State used to be a giant killer, but she pretty much brought that program down to nothing. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you want to be with me. So Mike Bobo, you're that third and final flush. You better get it together. And that's it for this week's Coaches of the Hot Seat.
I'm a fire in my laser.